Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session. So we're here for our webinar, 5 Ways to Maximise Your NetSuite Investment. I can see we're still waiting for a few people to join in, so we'll just give it another minute or two before we get started. Excellent. Great. I hope everyone's nice and warm wherever you are in New Zealand. Very cold here. Australia, I know it's cold in Melbourne. Great. Awesome. Great stuff. Excellent. We'll get started. So thank you for joining us. So as I said before, our 5 ways to maximise your NetSuite investment. So Paula Shearson, Business Development Manager here at Annexa Aotearoa. Today's webinar is all about exploring your ways to optimise your existing NetSuite investment with automation, integrations, customisations, apps, and of course, the right support, which is critical. So we hope from today that you walk away from the session with actionable tips and tricks and strategies to enhance that for you. But before we get into the session, just a little bit of housekeeping for today. We'd love to hear your thoughts throughout the session. We've got time at the end for Q&A. So use the chat box to the bottom of the right of the screen to shoot through any questions for our speakers. And we'll also have a couple of polls up throughout the session. So it would be great to get your input. So a very open forum. And of course, if you're having any technical issues, as nothing ever goes smoothly throughout the session, please send us a message and through the chat, of course, and we'll get one of our team members to jump in and get that sorted for you. So to kick it off, I'd like to introduce you to myself. A few of you would already know me. I've been around the Annexa team for quite some time now. So now based in lovely New Zealand, freezing cold New Zealand at the moment, for the last 2.5 years. Previously in Melbourne, HQ, for the last 6 years. So been working as a BDM for Annexa for over 8 years alongside our customers in this role. And I'm well versed in what NetSuite has to offer businesses, having worked with a number of customers from very large to smaller startups, assisting them to navigate NetSuite and understand how the platform can assist them to streamline their processes and set them up for future growth and success. So my main role now is to work alongside New Zealand customers and ensure that they're supported on the platform from an account perspective, and work with our local teams on the ground here in New Zealand and our in-house tech and dev teams in Melbourne, Sydney, and Malaysia and Singapore, of course, to get the outcome for our customers that are needing to grow and scale at a global level. As a passionate Kiwi, yes, I was born and bred here, I'm excited to be back to work here with innovative businesses as New Zealand is very innovative, and leverage my knowledge and learnings and what we've done with some of our clients over the years in Australia and beyond. So without further ado, I'm joined by Sonia Elliott, our Senior NetSuite Consultant here at Annexa. Thank you for joining me today, Sonia. I'll hand it over to you to do your introduction.
Thanks, Paula. That was lovely. I think I learned a bit more about you in that pre-speak as well. Well, I've always been working in New Zealand, and I could probably say I've pretty much always been working in ERP. I completed a degree in accounting and finance, so accounting's my background, but IT's my second passion. I've been working in Auckland primarily with all sorts of different ERP products and many different businesses and industries for over the last 20 years. And I've been working with NetSuite for the last 5. I've been at Annexa now only for a year, but it's been a really great journey and I have really enjoyed working with the team. My role at Annexa is as a senior consultant, so I work with our clients to make sure that they get what they need when they implement NetSuite. Thanks for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Sonia. So we're also joined today by Bart Wadley, our Senior Solution Architect, who's based in Melbourne. So Bart, I'll hand it over to you for a quick intro.
Thanks, Paula. Welcome, everyone. As Paula said, my name's Bart. I guess quick background to myself. I completed my studies in business information systems and accounting information systems. Then I started my career journey actually in the IT world, in technician roles. And then I was lucky enough to find myself at Annexa some 12 years ago, I think it is now. So yeah, it's been a long ride with Annexa. At that time, we didn't have NetSuite on our product list. We did a variety of other ERP, CRM, and payroll systems that I was, in charge of supporting in that period of time. Then 10 years ago, we invested and jumped on board and partnered with NetSuite themselves. So yeah, it's sort of been 10 years dedicated to the Oracle NetSuite product now. My current role at Annexa, I'm a solution architect. So my main responsibility is to really ensure that I can assist our customers in bringing it all together. So this could be integrations, customisations, leveraging leading practice, but helping us design it all and really bring that together. And at the end of the day, we're trying to assist our customers in fulfilling what their key requirements are, what the business drivers are, and trying to leverage as much as they can out of the product. And that could be from a full NetSuite implementation, or it could be a small uplift project.
Great. Thanks, Bart. Awesome. So just a quick snapshot overview of those on the call who may not be familiar with Annexa. So we've been in the game for over 25 years, as Bart mentioned, and have a team of around 75 plus strong with varying experiences across solution design, implementations, integrations, technical development, and commerce for NetSuite, and of course consulting like myself. So HQ, Melbourne, and we have teams across Australia and Asia. So with our growth into New Zealand and the inquiry that we've had, we now have a dedicated team on the ground here for consulting, sales, implementation, development, support, who are also Kiwis and know Kiwi business as well. So on that note, we've just got a little bit of a snapshot of some of our customers that you'll see on the screen shortly that we've worked with, both in Australia and New Zealand, of course, with a mix of wholesale distribution, retail, manufacturing services, and non-for-profit. So we're lucky enough to have a few of these on the call with us today. And of course, a lot of these companies are global, so we do support that global representation. So I'll hand that over to Bart so that he'll jump into the 5 ways how to maximize your NetSuite investment. And the first topic that he's going to go through is the NetSuite integration. So go for it, Bart, all yours.
Cool. Thanks, Paula. Yeah, in today's world, it's essential to bring together critical business data across your organization. So not just for finance functions, but to ensure that we can leverage the full power of your cloud ERP. This will help you to make informed business decisions faster with accurate and valid data. So NetSuite integrates with many different software platforms and databases. And like I said, in the world today, no one wants to be limited on choice. So when we're reviewing our business requirements, we want to find the appropriate platform to facilitate those requirements. And this means that we can essentially leverage best-in-class applications globally while still facilitating a single source of truth and ensuring the right people have the right data at the right time. So if we look at integration as a whole, there's a few different ways that we can go about integrating. The easiest and the fastest option would be to utilize pre-built connectors. NetSuite and third-party providers offer their own sort of suite of pre-built NetSuite connectors to a bunch of popular software applications across many functions. So that could be e-commerce, marketing, HR, or even point of sale functions. Oracle themselves, they've got their own connector modules as well. So for example, the NetSuite connector is a new module that connects third-party e-commerce and point of sale solutions today. But utilizing pre-built connections will generally give you a level of comfort that connection has sort of been tried and tested with other customers in the past. And in a lot of cases, there'll be case studies that you can leverage on those learnings, so you're not the guinea pig in those scenarios. Outside of using a pre-built connector, you can always go the custom code route. So NetSuite, you can utilize their API and coding languages to build out an integration essentially from the ground up. This is particularly successful when it's a homegrown application or you have really unique requirements that would be difficult to find a pre-built connection for. and you want to design that and essentially own the flows of data between those systems. And regardless of whether you're going down the custom or the pre-built path, you could be utilizing a layer between those two systems. So an iPaaS, or an integration platform as a service, is a popular way to deliver connections in and out of NetSuite or your cloud ERP. So what you can see on the screen here, if you'd let me just quickly walk through this, on the left-hand side, we've got our cloud ERP. So we've got Oracle NetSuite there. We're building up that single source of truth. That could be multiple brands, countries, and websites. As some of you would be aware, NetSuite is a global ERP platform, so we can consolidate all our different entities on one platform. The little orange circles in there, that's all the different functions that our ERP is owning and controlling within the organization. So that's sort of our ERP box, if you will. On the right-hand side, I've got a variety of third-party platforms across different revenue channels and regions. So we've got point of sale, e-commerce, and then some additional functions around loyalty and marketing. In the middle there, we've got our iPaaS layer. Okay, so that's where it may sit to essentially facilitate the transfer of data between the ERP and our point of sale and our e-commerce solutions. Although an iPaaS can be used to facilitate data transfers between two third-party platforms as well. So that is one of the advantages that you can get from putting that integration layer into the business. So if I look at this image here, a common data flow or example that we could look at would essentially be the item master file. So that might live, and the single source of truth for the item data might be in Oracle NetSuite as our cloud ERP, but both the e-commerce and the point of sale platform would leverage that data. So we've sort of got that single source of truth, and then we can build on top of that within retail and e-commerce operations that might have some unique characteristics around that product that don't need to live within our ERP system, because it's just not essential to have that data for decision-making purposes. Now, if I look at an iPaaS as a whole, there's a lot of technical benefits that you can get from that. So that could be the management of connections in one location, the connection technology itself, data transformations, error management, or even the retry of those errors. But what most businesses find is the benefits outside of the technical pieces, and that's probably more appealing to businesses today. So the first of those would essentially be agility and ease of use. So some iPaaS solutions, they typically have a low-code way of connecting platforms, and they have simple flows, meaning you can adapt to market changes or platform changes across the organization quite quickly. The next, which I'm sure we're all looking for, is the cost benefits behind implementing an iPaaS. So being low-code means customers can usually reduce the cost to implement their original connections, and it can take some complications out of that process. And typically in a tool like the iPaaS, the ongoing cost can also be reduced, because the end customer can start to manage the connections over time, and they can become a lot less reliant on a partner for every single error or the change of a field or putting in a new custom field that we want to flow between platforms. So that can sort of go back to the customer, putting more power in your hands. And then sort of summarizing all that together as well is the reduced time to delivery. So you've got the costs and the agility examples, but in turn, if we can implement these projects faster, then it could meet crucial deadlines that the organization might have over time. So even for ourselves at Annexa, we formed a partnership with Celigo, utilizing their integrated.io product some time ago now. We use that product internally for our integrations, and we were evidently in your shoes, being the customer, validating which platform would be best for our needs and how we could manage it ongoing. And we essentially chose integrated.io and the Celigo platform for the reasons that I outlined earlier. Paula, I might throw back to you now.
Yep. Thanks, Bart. Cheers. So looking at that, integrations certainly contribute significantly to make sure your information is centralized and data is easily accessible and also accurate, which is critical. So let's look at topic number 2, NetSuite apps. Now, how these can be utilised to boost your efficiency with your existence of NetSuite. So Bart, hand it back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Paula. So sometimes we don't need to do a full platform integration. You just might want to plug some missing functionality gaps on your platform, and apps are a really great way to achieve this. So firstly, let's discuss a native NetSuite Suite app. So a native NetSuite Suite app is where the functionality is built within NetSuite using the tools, the database, and the functions of NetSuite. And generally, they're leveraging the leading practice of NetSuite to essentially enhance that process further to suit a best-of-class function, or it could be to suit a unique competitive advantage that you have, okay? This eliminates the need to have any integrations, and it could be an easier transition for the end user, as it will still feel like they're using the NetSuite platform to perform their core tasks. So they won't feel like they're looking at a new system and they've got to learn a new tool. They're still using NetSuite, but they've got an advanced function that's built through an app. And as we know, change management in delivering projects like this can make or break the overall adoption of an integration project or a customization project or putting in a new app. So as you can see on the screenshot, you can navigate within your NetSuite environment or online to the Suite App Marketplace, and you can scroll through these apps and review third parties, and even NetSuite themselves have a lot of apps that are either free or can be purchased to be put into your current environment. And I guess with these apps being part of the NetSuite marketplace, there is a level of comfort into the guidelines in which they were built. And more importantly, you know that they're going to be supported through the biannual upgrade that NetSuite is doing. So that's always going to flow with you. And there's no fear that, you know, what is upgraded in NetSuite isn't going to work with the apps that you've purchased. Now, us at Annexa, you know, as Paula went through, we've got quite a diverse team, and we have a large development team here at Annexa. So we've developed our own suite of apps, and this looks at transaction reconcilers, address validators, and then we've even got functions around dashboarding and e-commerce functions as well. So just to give you a quick snapshot of some of the apps that I'd like to talk about today. So the first one is probably for the wholesalers and distributors in the session. We have our landed cost distribution app. This app extends the core functions of NetSuite in recording and distributing landed costs. So the core is fantastic of NetSuite. You know, we've got estimation functions and we can record it at line level and header level and all those sorts of things. But what our customers essentially were saying to us is they had some crucial limitations and we needed to solve that for them. So the first one that we essentially solved was the timing around receiving those landed cost invoices. They would need to update the costs weeks after receiving the goods, and this could be across many shipments and many receipts. So they needed a quick way to essentially update large amounts of transactions after receiving that invoice. The second one was the overall calculation. So most of our customers were saying they'd distribute by a volume metric and not by weight or quantity. So within our app, we've got volume as a standard calculation, but we've also done some other custom calculations that were unique to other industries that needed those costs distributed in a certain way. And then probably the third one is just the overall flexibility. So to add additional costs on top of what was originally posted without having a complicated manual process, we've built, you know, an easy to use user interface that will essentially handle all those processes for you. The next one in the middle of your screen there is our NetSuite transaction emailer. So for any of you that are on the NetSuite platform, you'll understand the tools are quite good in getting transactions out to third parties and suppliers and customers, although it can involve some development work with scripts and workflows. And then there's still some limitations in bulk sending. So, you know, functions around CC and BCC and adding additional attachments can, you know, utilize some development work to make that happen. So what we did here as Annexa was to build a functional app called the NetSuite Transaction Emailer, and that gives users a screen that they can control and they can configure auto sending and bulk sending of transactions. So probably one of the most common use cases we get is, the AP transactions need to go to a specific transaction email, and the AR transactions need to go to a separate transaction email. And yes, that can be built out with workflows and scripts, but if we can just give that power back to the end user, every time there's a change, an update, a different flow, the end user can essentially control that themselves. And at the end of the day, putting more of that power back in the customer's hands is good, because you can control the deployment of those changes. The last one that you can see on the screen there is our File Connect. So this one's probably been our most popular over the years, and it's all to do with just bringing files into NetSuite as efficient as possible. So we utilize that in 3 different ways. One is drag and drop. So you can literally just drag a file on top of NetSuite and it will digest the data for you. We've got really granular error reporting on top of that. We can leverage all the same functions that the standard NetSuite has. We then also have an email file approach. So you could get a CSV emailed to a specific email address. The File Connect will grab that spreadsheet and bring that into NetSuite, import the data in. And then finally, we also have the ability to do an SFTP approach. So in some ways, it's an automated integration between a third-party platform utilizing a file approach. But at the end of the day, we found a lot of transactions that needed to come into NetSuite that weren't in the standard flow of the import-export engine, and we were able to come across and solve those using the File Connect module. So yeah, all those apps have been really important for our customers. And at the end of the day, if an application doesn't exist, it can be built. So there really is huge potential to be able to personalize and customize the NetSuite platform. Paula, I might throw back to you. I think that's enough spiel on apps for now.
Good work, Bart. No, that's great. And just highlighting our 3 most popular apps, but there's more on our website, so take a look. So even though the apps are lightweight and a way to fill in those gaps, they can save you a lot of time, reduce manual outputs, and are usually a very fast way to deploy. So Sonia, I'm going to hand it over to you, because I know you've got great expertise when it comes to customisations. Are you able to give us some further use case studies of implementing customisations for NetSuite?
Great, thanks Paula. Yes, customisations has always been a big part of what I've done in my consulting work, but in Annexa it's been fantastic because we have this in-house team and this direct line of communication. Then getting developments done quickly and effectively has been great. I've enjoyed it. So when we get these customisations, or how do we choose, or how do our customers choose that it's the right customisation for them? Because it usually provides some sort of business differentiator for them that helps them make a profit, makes them different to others. So we focus on really fitting our customers' needs rather than them having to fit NetSuite. But it can go wrong. I'd like to get into an example, but before I do that, let's just highlight some of the things that we should do when we're looking at customization to make sure things don't become messy and expensive down the track. The first one is effective scoping and technical documentation. You need to be clear, capture your business goals, and outline the technical strategies to achieve them. Part of the focus that we have to provide a better service is to understand the end user's thinking and rationale behind the customization. This helps us put forward suggestions, and it also helps with ongoing business improvement in the future. Testing environments. With our customers, we really encourage them to take on a testing environment. This sandbox allows them to test with their own data and to test extensively, and it means they can put through better examples and have a better understanding of how their system is going to work with their day-to-day data. We also use them for any of the applications, suite apps, or any of the integrations like Bart was talking about. The other thing to ensure is that you have a really good go live training plan in place. So when we do implementations, we think a real key is the training of the people, and we offer different ways to get that training done through Train the Trainer, through our executive program. And we also make sure that once you do go live, the users know where they can go to get help when they need it. Now, as you go through NetSuite and you implement it, you'll get a lot of knowledge within your organization, but your NetSuite partner is still invaluable. We're that extra level of knowledge. When someone leaves or when you need to do something new or a customization, you can always come to your NetSuite partner. Now, the example I want to go through is one that we did recently for a wholesale distributor, and they needed an inventory Bible with all the information across different aspects of inventory. They wanted both the sales team and the purchasing team to be able to use this report. They had worked it up over years in their older system before they came to NetSuite, and they didn't want to lose it. They wanted to include things like the item description, the detailed purchase information, the sales figures, the GP margins, the average costing, all by location, and they had quite a few locations and warehouses. So what we did was we created, or in NetSuite, what we were able to do was create 3 NetSuite reports to get all of this in one place. And that would have been frustrating and time consuming for them. So you could have used Suite Analytics. We tried that, but unfortunately we could not get everything they wanted into one place. So it was something we had to look at customization on. We built a customization that allows them to grab the multiple 3 reports that we created and put them into one parent search and populate the columns. So they could still control the data in the columns by updating the saved searches, but when they viewed it, when they reported on it, it came out in one large report. This made them really happy. They didn't have to look at 3 reports. It allowed them to look at one saved search or report and get all of the information they needed in one place. So that's just a small but very useful customization we've done recently. I'll hand back to you, Paula.
Awesome. Thanks, Sonia. So it's always really exciting to bring those customizations to life, both for our team and when the customers see it, however big or small, because it improves your day-to-day processes in your system. So while we're speaking of customization, Sonia, I know you want to go through a few of these and also to go around your tips and tricks that are coming up. So I'll hand that back to you if you're ready to go.
Yep. I'm just sharing my screen, so it should come up in a minute. Just let me know if you can see that okay, Paula, but is it clear enough?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. I want to go through 3 tips or tricks today. We've only got a few minutes left, but I would really like to cover these off in NetSuite. The first one was a customer that wanted to be able to make it straightforward for sales staff to view an invoice profitability report directly from a customer's form where they were talking to the customer. The reason they wanted them to do this is so that they could see that profitability while they were discussing discounts. Now, that's not for everyone, but that's what the customer wanted in this case. Let's take a look at how the report looks when we go directly to it through the menu or the favorites. Just contains a list of invoices we can see here with a GP. This one's filtered by month. It's showing us all the invoices that are there. But let's have a look at it if we look at it by customer. So we'll open up our specific customer, Sheet Metals Australia. And what we've done on this customer is we've added a new custom field, which is a hyperlink. And when we click on the hyperlink, it opens the same report, but this time you only get the invoices for that customer. So to have a look at how that hyperlink works, and it's also in the PDF that will be attached to this presentation, so you can get a look later on. All we need to do is copy the HTML address of the report that we want, create this new hyperlink field, so anything your NetSuite administrator should be able to do, or contact us if you want help. And in here, we paste in that hyperlink report as a formula. See the formula there? But the special thing that we do is we use the customer ID rather than just the report HTML. So we're the customer ID, and in formula speak, these 2 lines mean concatenate. So take the customer ID, and this is the field for the customer ID. Now you do need to know what the fields are, but a NetSuite administrator should be able to work that one out for you. And that's how we get a custom report. Okay, let's look at another tip. Another one, which leads into Bart talking about our suite apps that we can get, is the ability to add an organization chart into the dashboard. So this is a NetSuite app. It's provided free of charge. My clients found it useful because they got sick of updating their staff list with contact details all the time. They wanted staff to be able to look at them in their dashboard. So if you haven't seen NetSuite before, the dashboard contains our daily journey in NetSuite, and we can add and customize it to do what we need to. So I'm going to move away from standard content and look at the Suite app. Here's one I downloaded earlier, and there was some setup, but again, you can always contact your NetSuite consultant for that. Once we update our dashboard by adding that new app in, shouldn't take long to come up, we can then see, we can look for people, oops, too many clicks. Oh well, we'll go a slightly different way. By clicking on it, you can actually get a list of all of your staff. And you can see here their contact details. You can see some are missing. Now, as a staff member, this is all I can see. I actually need HR privileges to be able to drill down and update or edit that information. What I could also do, that's because I've got all of my staff here, is say, hey, I'd like to see just the New Zealand ones. So I can look in, pull in New Zealand and say, I'd like to see that subsidiary only and get just my New Zealand list. What I can also do, another special feature it offers, is this organisation chart, where we can see things by supervisors and the people underneath those supervisors. So I can see the first two levels here of my staff, and then to see more, if John had more employees, it would say 5 or 6 or 20, whatever it might say, and you can click on those and see the people underneath. So again, that's just a Suite app you can add to your NetSuite system. You can then add it to your dashboard and have a quick, easy view of your staff. All right, the last one. There's one more to show you. Have I got time, Paula? I'm a little bit over. You want me to keep going? Okay, all right. The last one was an update that my clients needed. So they'd had NetSuite for quite a few years, but they were now deciding to go live with their website. And what they wanted to do was make sure that they had the correct website description for their item. When they first uploaded their inventory years ago, they didn't have that. You can see it sitting there blank on this item. And what they wanted to do is not just use the description, they wanted to combine the item number and the description in here, so that when people called in, they could give the actual ID. And the reason for that is they had a lot of very small, very similar parts. Some of you might be able to relate to that. So there's a feature in NetSuite called a mass update. And on a mass update, it's very similar to a saved search. So if we look in here, here's one I've created earlier to update the item web description. Similar to a saved search in that you put your criteria in the front, and they wanted to find anything that was empty because they had done some manual updates. But I'm going to make it quick because I want to run it for the demo now. So I'm saying it's only going to apply to this one stock item. And what's different from a saved search is this tab here, the mass update field tab. And in here, you select what you want to update, and usually you might put the text in that you're updating it with, or if it had a tick box, the tick box. But we're going to do something a little bit special. We're going to actually update it with a formula, and the formula is going to say, take the item ID, this field name, take the item description, and remember what these two meant in formula speak? Concatenate. So bring them together with a little hyphen and some space in the middle. So what we can do is preview it and check that it's going to do the right update before we run it. Let's do a quick preview. And in here, we can see which field is being updated, blank at the moment, and we can see the data it's going to update with. Let's perform the update. Tells me that it successfully performed one update on the records. Now, if you had thousands, you can schedule it to run overnight. Let's have a look at the item and make sure it did the update correctly. So we'll go in here. We can probably open it from our last recent records. Let's have a look at this item, and we can see in here now that that web store description has updated. Now again, I know I went through that quickly, but the PDF is attached to the presentation. If you want to be able to set up your own mass updates, you'll have a starting point to go from. But that concludes my last tip for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia. I know we've run slightly over time. Thank you, everybody. And please, and the right-hand side of your screen there under handouts, you can download that. So please feel free to do so. So just going for the last piece of the puzzle here is all about your support and training. So how to maximize your investment with NetSuite. So the ROI on your investment relies heavily on the people who use it on a regular basis. So with such an extensive platform, it's important to stay on top of process improvements, module updates, new features, and in general, keeping your teams knowledgeable and up to scratch. So I'm just going to take you through some of those options with training and support. And there's countless resources at your disposal for NetSuite training. So NetSuite offers a range of training courses, certifications, and these vary depending on which area you're looking for to focus on with your level of experience. So a few of the key options are NetSuite Learning Cloud Support, LCS Pass, absolutely brilliant for any company, small and large, which is a subscription-based offering that allows your NetSuite users to access on-demand learning 24 hours a day. So even while you're not working, you can do it after hours. So these are role-based courses, personalized learning plans, user enablement support. However, this can be quite generic. Alternatively, partners such as Annexa, they can help put together these personalized training programs for you to suit your specific needs. There are also some really good, great online resources available. And one of those is Sweet Answers that you know that's in your instance as well. So that's access directly at your leisure. The portal, which helps have articles, webinars, all sorts in there at your fingertips. YouTube, another great resource, although very short and sweet. And we also have our Annexa on air, which we do put through the channels and which covers key modules and functionality within NetSuite, and we find that's really popular. It's also really important to be aware of NetSuite's biannual releases, which a lot of you who are on NetSuite do know about, where they launch new and updated functionality across their modules. So you can access those release notes prior to you go live from your homepage on NetSuite. And for the Annexa customers, as you know, we send out those reminders in the lead up for these releases and help you out through that as well. So like any system, over time process can become outdated and users they need a refresher on best practice. So we recommend reviewing your NetSuite instance at least once, twice a year to make sure you're maximizing your efficiency and can develop a plan to fill any knowledge gaps. And of course, if you're already an Annexa customer, you'll be on our Annexa Assist. So you'll have the assistance from our Annexa support team and your assigned customer success manager to help you get the most out of your system. And for specialist assistance with that, you get the unlimited help desk support. So we're there to help you 24/7. So that's it. Our 5 ways to maximize your NetSuite investment. So we've got quite a few questions coming through. So we've got a bit of time to go through that. One's just come through now. Can the org chart view be enabled to show more detail, like say tenure with the company? I might hand that one back to you, Sonia, since you were going through that just before.
Yes, it can. Part of the setup is you choose which fields that you want available on that org chart view. I didn't show that, but there was a little scale on the left-hand side that should show more or less detail. So you pick which fields and which data you want. I think you have 5 that you can choose. There is some limitations, but we could probably work around those.
Awesome. Thanks, Sonia. Another one that's come through, Bart, is how fast can an Annexa app be deployed? I mean, obviously it depends on the application and what needs to happen in the background, but a quick example on that one, if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries, Paula. Yeah, so I guess apps are specifically built so that they can be installed and configured quite quickly. We follow strict guidelines when building an app out to make sure that it is in a way that we're not essentially doing a customization that Sonia went through, and we're looking at days of investment into bringing that in. So the idea is to make them quite plug and play. So most of our apps are, a day to sort of get them up and going. And obviously that's dependent on the app itself.
So there's quite a few here. I'll just read out this last one and then we'll cut it short, but we will answer all those questions post today's session. So from your quick demonstration, Sonia, can a website display name to be accessed for the sake of pulling data for a saved search rather than accessing an item in the product file? You're on mute, darling.
Wrong one. Yes, you can choose which data you want to show on your website. That was just an example of how they had updated theirs.
Yeah, and any of those formulas that Sonia was showing, they can be used in a standard save search. So if you were looking to join two different fields in a save search, instead of them being in a field like Sonia was showing, they can just be done as a formula within the save search as well.
Awesome, awesome, excellent. There's another one that just come through. They're coming in thick and fast. So what we might do is we'll take those offline and we'll get back to you directly. We're just running out of time. So thank you to Sonia and Bart and for everyone who joined us today. And we hope you gained some great insights and takeaways for your own NetSuite investment. And as always, we always love to chat further to guide you if you've got any questions or anything. We're here to help. Our Annexa account managers are on deck, or feel free to shoot us an email to sales@annexa.com.au. That also comes through to us in New Zealand if you're here in the Kiwi land. So we'll also send a copy of the webinar on the back of the session if you want to revisit any of the topics, and or look forward it on to a colleague, of course. We're here to help everyone. So thanks again for joining us and have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks everyone.
Paula.
Thanks, Paula.
Thanks, everyone.